Autos, well, the April dispatch numbers would be coming out in a week from now, but are we in for a recovery and a sustainability? There are initial data points which are indicating that at least the two-wheeler market and the entry-level four-wheeler market has seen a revival in demand. Let's take the conversation forward with Vinkesh Gulati, President with FADA, and Nikunj Sanghi, Managing Director of J S Fourwheel. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us. Let me start with my namesake, which is Nikunj. How do you see things moving for the two-wheeler and the four-wheeler market? There are, as per the data which is available on the government site Vahan, there seems to be an uptick which is coming back. Is this because of last year's base effect, or this is more than a base effect?
So you're right, Nikunj. I think a lot of it has to do with the last year base effect. If you look at the last year base effect, then yes, definitely you can see anywhere between 17 to 20% growth in two-wheeler registrations as of now. And they're likely to end with a slightly better figure of about 25% growth over last year. But assuming that this 25% growth does come, it's almost 30% down compared to 2019, 2018, which were the pre-COVID years. So two-wheelers, Vahan states used to contribute almost 15 lakh vehicles registration in April. And if everything goes good, I think we should close at around 11.50 registrations for two-wheelers this month. So which would be almost about 3.5 lakh vehicles down as compared to pre-COVID period. So green shoots, small recovery, cheer in the market, but far away from where we would want to be.
Take you to a place where you really want to be. What would be that aspirational number which would indicate that the green shoots have translated into real recovery?
So it definitely would be pre-COVID levels, because see, when we were in pre-COVID levels, we were actually looking at a 10-12% growth in the two-wheeler market. So even if we achieve the pre-COVID numbers, we would be at least 27% down compared to where we should have been if the COVID had not impacted and if commodity prices had not gone up and prices would have held back. I think a lot of it has to do with affordability. Two-wheelers, both the prices and the cost of operations, I think they are the ones which are really hitting the market very bad. And in short term, I don't see many reasons for recovery to even reach the pre-COVID levels.
Vinkesh, aside of what the commodity cost inflation brings in, there's also, because of the geopolitical tensions between Ukraine and Russia, the big scare on the supply chain constraint as well. We've already heard commentary from Maruti saying that the semiconductor chip issue is also going to be an elongated one. So just wanted to understand where things stand right now in terms of supply chain.
So the supply chain continues to be a huge challenge. And I think the impact of the Ukraine war has not yet come on the chips. And once that comes, because please understand that Ukraine and Russia put together constitute almost 70% of the raw materials which are required for smart chips. And if that doesn't come in, and people have been making chips with the stocks that they held, but with the war getting elongated, I guess that very soon we will start seeing an impact, and the uncertainty around availability of chips is only increasing by the day. I don't see relief coming around. But the two-wheeler segment, and specifically the entry-level two-wheeler segment, doesn't get so much impacted by the chip shortage because they do not require the kind of chips which are now required in high-end models of two-wheelers and cars. But I think the problem with two-wheelers is a demand constraint and not a supply constraint.
Vinkesh, if I could get you in here, the silver lining to this cloud, at least back home, is that perhaps rural income is also going to increase because of agri price inflation. Now, a lot, of course, is going to depend on what kind of monsoon we see play out this year. But just wanted to understand whether tractor, two-wheeler sales can actually make up for the blip that we've been seeing.
So morning. No doubt the rural is improving day by day, but I feel the kind of improvement or the rural distress which we have gone through for the past 10 year or so, it's not over in April or maybe in the coming quarter also, which can affect the retail of the two-wheeler or the tractor. No doubt tractor is stable as of today because it has seen a real phenomenal growth in the during the first lockdown phase of COVID, but now it has stabilized to a good number, which is continuing. Nikunji very well summarized the way how two-wheeler is going in. So I feel there's still some time when rural actually starts growing at a phenomenally good level, which can then affect the sales of two-wheeler going ahead.
Good morning. In the month of March, we had seen a 5% downtick when it came to the passenger vehicle sales. I wanted to just stay with the space of the disruption that was expected, which was supposed to be electric vehicles. That was what everybody was talking about in 2020 and 2021. Situation is now different. We're seeing those headlines of EV fires. But even though you're seeing a jump up for EVs when it comes to three-wheelers, going forward, is it there are fewer inquiries? Are you expecting sales to come down, Mr. Gulati?
See, it's just a small blip, but overall, the electric vehicle area also is grappling with a big semiconductor issue, which is there is a gap between the supply and demand. And recently, if you remember, Tarun had very clearly said that they are able to produce only 30% of the order book, which means there is a 3 times gap. So overall, yes, there are some customers who are, I'm not saying canceling their orders, but they're actually making it pending because the kind of EV fires and the kind of messages taking with some fatality has actually made a fear in them. But overall, still there are a lot of customers who want to join this bandwagon and there is still a waiting period. So I feel whatever is produced will be sold. That will not be a problem. But these kind of thing will really dent the pace with which the electrification is needed in this country and how the other OEMs are working on. So it will really give an effect, a sentiment, negative sentiment will be there. But I don't feel there'll be an issue in the retail side of whatever they produce.
Mrs. Sanghi, coming to you, we saw the 5% downtick when it came to passenger vehicle sales in the month of March. We've seen the hatchback also being driven out by most of the automakers. Where are you seeing most of the traction? Does it continue to be in the opening segment, but you have a shortage as well when it comes to that? And there is Mengai that is also now trickling in. So where is all of those buyers of the hatchback segment? Where are they going to go?
So I guess a lot of people in the lower end of the four-wheeler market, and you're talking of hatchbacks and small cars, I think that will continue to remain in stress because more than anything else, affordability is a problem even with them. Like two-wheelers, affordability is an issue with small car buyers. And therefore, you can see a huge shift in demand from hatchbacks to compact SUVs and MUVs as family cars. They are seeing an unprecedented growth, and I think the predominant segment in car market is already SUVs and MUVs, and I think they will only increase their market share going further because the segment which is buying these cars, while they are also feeling the pinch of the price increase, they are also feeling the pinch of inflation, but their affordability quotient is much better than people at the lower end of the spectrum.
So Vinkesh, when do you see pricing power coming back with car companies or with auto companies? Right now it's the customer, right now it is commodity, now right now it is more like a compulsion which is driving auto prices higher. It is not that manufacturer is able to expand margins. When do you see that changing?
Nikunj,
I'll come to you, Nikunj. Maybe Vinkesh, you want to just answer this one, then I'll come to Nikunj Sanghi on that.
Okay.
So I feel it's still time because another year or so, these issues will be continuing because the external forces are huge today. We come out of one thing and another thing crops up. So COVID was out. Now then the conflict zone started. Then China lockdown, Japan earthquake. So something or the other is driving this all from the external forces. And I feel there'll be another 6 months to an year when we'll be seeing that the OEMs will get in control of the prices. But point here is I don't see whatever price increase we have seen for the past 2 years, which has been huge as compared to many years before. They'll take it back or come down. I feel the prices what is already there, it will be stable and go up only coming further.
Nikunj Sanghi, tell us about your inventory levels. Are you worried about the inventory levels in the system in general? What is happening in the supply chain, or that's manageable? Because markets look at the numbers which come on a monthly basis from auto companies and then judge the health of the auto sector. The real way to look at it is perhaps understand what is there at the dealer level.
So
overall, I feel... Sorry, please.
So we are worried about inventory levels, both in four-wheelers and two-wheelers. In four-wheelers, we are worried because we don't have inventory and there is a waiting list and we would want to sell. In two-wheelers, we are worried because there is no demand and inventory levels have really shot up. I think this quarter was important for two-wheeler manufacturers, and in anticipation of a good quarter, they started pushing inventories in March, which push continues. And the inventory levels, the wholesale is definitely far surpassing the retail, and therefore inventory levels at two-wheeler dealerships are going up. So it's a lose-lose situation both for cars and two-wheelers. One is suffering from lack of inventory and the other is suffering from excess of inventory.
Well, gentlemen, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.